Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a build guide for the Prelate's Inferno Crozier weapon in Elden Ring. So this is a very powerful hammer, and we can pair it with another big hammer to do a ton of damage. So I'll be going over the full leveling guide for this and where we want to put our stats. So if you just want to use this weapon, you need at least 45 strength and 8 dexterity. So at level 150 I got 50 vigor, 16 mind, 42 endurance with 70 strength, 10 dexterity, 10 intelligence, 15 faith, and 16 arcane. This allows us to actually stack up bleed damage before the battle starts, and we could even use the white mask for a bit of extra damage there. But the overall strategy you'll want to use with this weapon is go in for jump attacks. So the claw talisman is going to enhance the damage alongside the raptor's black feathers. And just for an example of what the extra bleed damage can do, we'll put on the white mask as well, because that's going to boost your overall damage output after you trigger a blood loss, which we can use Swarm of Flies to easily trigger that. So I also have the Shard of Alexander. This can be swapped out depending on what you're using. So just for this, the purpose of this, we'll use this for increased damage. But if we're using Lion's Claw or any Ash of War, you definitely want the Shard of Alexander or the Great Warrior Jar. And we got the Dragon Crest, Great Shield Talisman, and Great Jar's Arsenal, because we need to have at least a medium roll. That's the only big downside to a large weapon like this. But typically we want to start with like our buff, so Flame Grant Me Strength, and we got Blood Flame Blade here, which we can also buff the weapon with. And then we're just going to trigger the Blood Loss, so you can use Swarm of Flies a couple times, and then we can switch over to our other hammer, and you're going to see the Blood Loss trigger. And then once that happens, we can start bonking. And the damage we're going to do is way too high. Like, we even stagger if we hit nearby the enemy. So there's like crazy, we're going to one-shot pretty much anything here. And for bosses, you can even go a step further and use Royal Knight's Resolve here, which is going to buff up your weapon and increase the damage by 80%. So with all the extra buff that we have on, we can... Oh, it hit his shield and almost took him out. I'll get a better usage of that there. And yeah, this build is incredibly strong because we're going to be capitalizing off both the damage buff that we get from bleed as well as the damage buff we get from jump attacks. So you can easily one-shot these guys here, and if you hit their shield or hit nearby them, it'll also stagger them. That is the nicest part about colossal weapons. And this is only for level 150. This is a build that's actually best used if you go even higher, because then you can put your strength up to 80. I would prioritize getting your endurance up to like probably 48 to 50 so that you could get your poise up to 56. I did have to go with a little bit lower poise this time around, just because I wanted to get some of the armor pieces, but also equip both hammers. But if you don't want to go with the Giant Crusher, you don't have to, but this is another really great colossal weapon that requires 60 strength. And a few other Ash of Wars that I like on this build are the... There's a few really damaging ones. If you have the DLC, you can get Savage Lion's Claw, which is a very fun one to use. But I'll show you another really good one actually is Bloodhound Step, because you can dash a couple times and get really close to the backside of the enemy and then jump attack there. This is 5 FP, so even if we don't have a lot of intelligence or if we don't have a lot of mind, we can use this. I would recommend getting the mind up past 16 as well, because I have it quite low, but I get most of the usage out of just a few different attacks here. So I'll show you Savage Lion's Claw from the DLC. This weapon is really fun with Savage Lion's Claw, because you can go into your first bonk and then follow it up with a second. That jumped a little bit too high, but yeah, you can usually hit with one attack and then follow it up with another one right behind it. So this is a really fun Ash of War to use, and it's even fun in like PvP. I've done some PvP matches with this because it just looks so cool, and the enemy can run from you, but if you're jumping at them with this much force, you pretty much stagger them or get a lot of damage in with it. So that is a really fun one that I like as well. And that wasn't even buffed up with extra bleed damage from the Swarm of Flies. But another really useful one that you can pretty much use against any fight is the Frost Stomps here. This can give it magic scaling, and if you get the Frostbite build up, it's 153, which is pretty good. So that could be another consideration for you as well. There's quite a few different Ashes of War that we can use, but the Prelate's Charge here is one that I really do enjoy. And if you're scaling off strength, you can put a lot of points into like the Flame or the Flame Art. We got a bit of faith, but I guess the best, yeah, this would be the best overall damage. If you have a high strength build, fire scales better. And if you have faith in the mix, you can go with the Flame Art. But yeah, the Prelate's Inferno, or the Prelate's Charge here has a really cool attack. It can also stagger lock Millennia, so I have a few guides where I use the Great Stars. I prefer, because the Great Stars has the healing effect. but you can hit really hard with this, and then you also get a bit of mobility. So that's a nice extra benefit from this weapon. And if we drink a Wondrous Physic to give ourselves extra posture damage, that can even go a step further with this build. So this is very strong. You can pretty much one-shot everything that we see here. And when you get to bosses, Royal's Knight Resolve is my personal favorite. Oh, we didn't take him out there. But yeah, this is an incredibly powerful build in Elden Ring. And you can use this all the way through the Shadow of the Erdtree, because posture damage sometimes just makes boss fights a whole lot easier, allowing you to get critical hits in relatively easy. So there it is, a Prelate's Inferno Crozier build guide in Elden Ring. If you found this video useful, please hit the subscribe button below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.